Well, good morning and hello, everybody. Those of you that are catching us on the replay and those are live, we are just so excited that you're spending the time with us for the next 45 minutes to an hour to learn why we are so passionate and on a mission to help people heal and age backwards. And today you're in for a real treat. I have my friend, Renata Smith, that is going to be doing the presentation for you. She does a fabulous job. And Renata is truly enjoying the benefits of not only healing, but helping other people heal all over North America. She is literally traveling. She's been gone all summer, sharing the patches with people. She's enjoying financial freedom and time freedom because she has two, not one, but two virtual businesses. And she is creating a beautiful, beautiful team and culture within our company. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Renata Smith. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, Christy. I so appreciate it. This company and this team has just been an amazing. It's been amazing to be a part of. The culture is just incredible, as we talked about on Tuesday in training. And I just love making all these new friends, not only in the Valley, but as Christy said, traveling around. And I have a few people on this call today that I have met in Colorado and all over the place. So we're thankful that they're all here today. And I'm thankful that you guys are spending your time with us today. As Christy said, if you are a guest, please put your name in the chat. I have gone and had muted most of you guys because we are recording this, and we will go ahead and have the recording for you to be able to share with your friends, family. We'll post it in the team Facebook as well. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm super excited to do this today. We started the Zooms back in February, and it's just a way to just bring all of us together from all over the country, all over the world, to be able to have a few minutes together to learn the technology, listen to a few testimonies, be able to ask and answer questions, and just share our experiences with each other. And just knowing that, coming from the heart, we really do love this business because we get to share and improve other people's lives, and it makes a huge difference. We get to put our head on a pillow at night and know that we are making a difference in sharing with people this technology and this amazing benefits that it provides. So I'm going to go. What the outline today is, I'm going to do a quick presentation, teaching about the technology, the science behind it, the hows, the whats, the whys, all of that type of stuff. We'll go over a few key points. We're going to then have some testimonials of people that have joined us today. And then we're going to open it up for questions and answers. So you can put your questions in the chat. You will also have the opportunity to be able to raise your hand and just, freely ask questions as we go toward the end. So I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to go for it like this. Okay. So this is an introduction to LifeWave. Make sure my buttons here work. Why are they working? There we go. Okay. Whoop. Fast. Okay. First of all, before we get totally into this, I just want to share a little bit about me and how I got started. I basically found LifeWave about 10 months ago or so. My friend Carrie invited me to a meeting, and she said, I want to go hiking. And she says, come to this meeting about stem cells. I'm like, what are you talking about? She says, well, I don't really know. Just come to this meeting with me. So we went. I remember very specifically, it was Friday, November 4th, and Christy was doing a presentation. And she basically told her testimony, and Rudy and Chris were there as well and told their testimony. Gave me all the information of the technology, the company, the science behind it, and it just resonated with me. My sister's a physical therapist. I've known about light therapy forever. I've been very much into holistic healing forever. And if any of you know my history, you know why. So I was like, why not? And all I could do about this when I was thinking about it and listening to everything was thinking about all the people that I wanted to tell. And once you have this knowledge, you just have to share it. You really do. It's just morally, ethically, I just feel like I have to share it with anybody. Whether they respond to it or not, that's on them. But I feel the necessity to be able to share it with other people. So that's what we're doing here today. We're giving you all the basics and the general information about LifeWave and about the science, and then we can go from there. A little bit about, let's see, I need to mute. Christy, I'm going to make you a co-host if you aren't already. So you can go in and make sure everybody is muted. Okay, you are co-host as well. And so a little bit about my story. I started out coming to that partly because of my shoulder. I've had a couple shoulder surgeries on my left shoulder, and I just didn't want to have another one. My pain was escalating. I was not able to sleep on my shoulder. And I don't like taking anything, and I like lifting weights, and I like doing yoga. And so I decided, what the heck, I'm going to give this a try. And plus all the other benefits. But of course, what we think about first when we think about something like this is how can it help us immediately? And so I understood the fact that it might not help immediately, but I decided I wanted to give this a try. So first couple things that I noticed was I started sleeping better. I started having these crazy vivid dreams, which tells me that there was something going on in my brain. Something different was going on in my body with these patches. Second thing was energy. I just remember having this really deep well of energy. I'm not a caffeine drinker or any of those sports, any of that type of stuff. And I had a lot of energy, which was amazing to me. And I'm a pretty high energy person anyway, but to feel more energy was great. It took about a month and a half where I started, well, within the first 3 weeks, I started noticing the difference in my shoulder, but it was at about the 2.5 month point that I was totally free from pain, no twinges, nothing anymore. I could sleep on it and all of that. So for me, it made a huge difference. And I could continue to tell you, there's probably, well, you can go on my Facebook and find them. There's probably a dozen things that I've noticed in my life in the last 10, 11 months that has made a difference for me. One of the craziest things is, and I've had this verified by other people, is I don't get bitten by mosquitoes anymore. How weird is that? We need to ask David Schmidt at the convention, like, why is that a thing? But it's not just me. I've had other people tell me the same thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. That's my story. And I am just looking forward to continue improvement in my health as my journey goes on. So LifeWave, that's the name of our company. That's the name of the product. It's a stem cell patch. So it looks simply like this little baby round circle, just sort of like in the picture. It has a peel and stick on the back. It tells you which patch it is on the back. We put this patch on in the morning and we take it off at night. We want to do it during the day because we want to hydrate well while using this patch. So what's happening is it's stimulating while the patch is on and it's healing while the patch is off. Okay, it's actually it's light therapy, and it's basically sort of like acupuncture points that we're putting this on. It's also called photobiomodulation. In other words, it's phototherapy. So if any of you guys have ever been to physical therapy or used any of other modalities, you know that light therapy is huge. It's a it makes a big change. Just like the sun, if any of you guys have seen the little 3-minute video that we have on the site, just like the sun can have incredible benefits to us, the vitamin D and all those other things, this uses light, heat, and energy in our body to generate those same type of benefits, okay? Inside the patches, and if anybody you want to know more detail about what's in these patches, text me and I'll send you a little write-up on it. But they're basically crystals, organic crystals that are in these patches that are used a specific frequency to activate your body's intelligence. What does that mean? The light and the light and heat are reflecting against the crystals when the patch is on your body. It's then telling your body to do something different. They're coded, C-O-D-E-D, coded to do different things in our body. Okay, so we do have other patches, which whoever invited you can explain all that too. But we do have other patches, but our main patch that we're focusing on today is the X39. Okay, let's see if I can move this forward here. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the science. The LifeWave patches are used on acupuncture points. Okay, so every packet of patches that you get will come with little instructions that show where to put them. In fact, Nancy did this really cool video on how she remembers where to put all these patches. So if any of you go find her on Facebook, check out her little video. It's amazing. It's just thinking outside the box. She's incredible. So another friend of mine reached out to me and said, hey, somebody said that these aren't FDA approved. And I'm like, well, guess what? We don't need to be FDA approved. We are not, because this is simply considered a class 1 medical device, like a little Band-Aid, okay? There are no medications in the patches. There is nothing that is going to interact with any medication in you or in anybody else. So we don't have to worry about that, okay? It is just literally a crystal in the patch that's not going to go into your bloodstream or anything like that. They stay in the patches, okay? We have a lot of medical studies, you guys. We have over 80 medical studies. They're continuing all the time. The pandemic sort of slowed things down a little bit, but they've been, a lot more have been coming out. One that I always like to share, and I've shared before, but it's just so impactful to me when I read through some of the studies, was they did a study using X39, and they tested people's hearts and all the different types of ways that they could check heart health. And over 6 months, the people aged backwards 8 years. So their heart got younger by 8 years by using X39 for literally 6 months. So when we put these patches on, a lot of people will notice things right away. About 70% of the people will feel something within the first 30 days. Okay, you might be one of the 30% that doesn't, but just know that they are making a difference, and they will continue to make a difference over time. Because they're stem cells, our body is going to be regenerating the stem cells that it thinks we need to regenerate first. Okay, so it might not be something that you notice, but we do know that there is healing going on inside of our body. Okay, no chemicals, drugs, or stimulants in these patches at all. One of our patches is an energy patch. But it doesn't have stimulants in it, and it is phenomenal. I've used it numerous times hiking, and it really does give you the extra boost of energy. And from what I understand, it helps burn extra calories too, which is always a plus. All the products are manufactured in Ireland and also protected by over 130 patents. Okay, let's see. I love this saying: the stem cell activity, the less stem cell activity you have, the slower you heal and the faster you age. And so if anybody isn't aware of that, this is why. Let me go to the next slide here. Stem cells are considered neutral cells, and when we're young, we have all these incredible healthy stem cells. Well, as we age, they become less and less. So by the time we hit 25, they are reducing, and by the time we hit 60, our stem cells aren't doing that great. So what this does, this actually helps regenerate those stem cells. Okay, it can be any kind of cell that your body needs to heal any specific area in your body. Okay, for instance, my hairdresser noticed that my hair was getting thicker and that I had all this baby hair. That happens to me, but it might not happen to the next person, right? It's just where my body started doing some changes, right? So X39 is the world's first and only stem cell therapy, and it actually activates and regenerates. I love that word, regenerates. It regenerates our cells to a younger state, okay? What it actually does is it activates a copper peptide called GHKCU. So if you guys want to look that up, it basically is the holy grail of anti-aging, okay? GHK-CU. We also have another patch called X49 that uses the AHK. It's GHKAC. It's just a little bit different peptide, but basically what that does is helps energy, performance, bone density, a variety of things. It works in conjunction with X39. Okay, and I love this very last one. This X39 is affordable. We all love that. Ethical and requires no injections. I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to that have had or were going to have stem cell injections, how expensive it is. I do talk to a few people that have had it and they're like, oh my gosh, it's been amazing. This has been great, but it's also super expensive. And if you don't have insurance, that gets even more expensive. And I love the ethical part as well. We don't know where stem cells come from. We know where some of them come from, but it's very specific. Believe it or not, if they're going to put stem cells in your body somewhere, it needs to be a very specific kind to heal a specific area in your body, and sometimes that's just not done right. Okay, so that's all I want to say about the stem cell stuff. Let's see if I can move this here. Okay, my favorite slide. What are some of the things that the stem cells activate, and how can it help you? Okay, let me just go through these pretty quick, but these are some of the incredible benefits. Reduce pain and inflammation. I can totally testify to that. Sleeping better on my shoulder. I have tons and tons of friends and family who are using this, and that's a really big thing that we notice. Reducing pain and inflammation. And you can ask Carrie about her ankle while we're hiking. So we have specific patches that can help when you have extraordinary pain, but just know that the stem cell patch actually helps reduce the inflammation and pain through your whole body. Okay, supports wound healing, old and new. I'm going to be showing you some pictures to attest to that effect. It basically, think about your skin is a living organ, right? And as your stem cells regenerate, it's regenerating scar tissue. Whether it's new or old. Chris's husband, Rudy, had a really bad wound on the back of his leg that's totally healed up. You know, he was going to wound care and everything. And I saw the back of his leg, and it's amazing how much of a difference it made. I've taken pictures of my scars. I have a variety of different scars on my body, and I can definitely see that the scar is actually reducing, which is pretty incredible. Okay. Increases energy and vitality at a cellular level. I can totally attest to that. Seriously, you guys, it is the craziest feeling when you do it. I remember hiking one day. I had actually put the X39, X49 on hiking. Got up in the morning at 7, went with Carrie and some friends. It was like a 5-hour hike. It was like a 6 miles. And I came home, did some errands, washed my car, cleaned my house. And at like 5 o'clock, I'm sitting on the couch going, what the heck just happened today? I just was like going, and I wasn't even tired. So I can definitely feel it. And I know that that's one of the key things a lot of people feel. I have another client that's they're in their late 70s. And I remember them coming to one of the meetings, and Christy was there, and them telling us, and Don goes, well, I just started doing the patch every other day. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because I can't take naps anymore. Oh my gosh, Don, you take it every day. It's okay if you don't need a nap. And they were just so, it was like, oh my gosh, we have so much energy now. So that was really cool to hear. Improves quality and restorative sleep. Really, really, you guys. I have an Aura ring, and it sort of tracks my sleep. And there's not a day that there are a few days that I get up and it's pretty miserable for one reason or another. But for the most part, I would say 70, 80, even 90% of the time, I get fantastic sleep. And like I said, you have unusual dreams. I can remember dreams from months ago now. And I know what that means is it's doing something in my brain. It is definitely increasing activity in my brain. It's healing, whatever it's doing. The crazy dreams and the vivid dreams are actually just a side effect of it. But amazing sleep. And we do know, if any of you guys pay attention, any holistic stuff that's going on out there, sleep is huge. Sleep makes a big difference on the quality of your life and the length of your life. It really does. Okay. Enhanced sports performance, provides faster recovery from exercise, especially people over 50. Totally can attest to that. I turned 58 and I almost hit my 58 hikes this year. Carrie and I both hike goals, and I'm just two hikes shy of hitting my 58 hikes this year. And that's unfortunately because Carrie rolled her ankle. It's not her fault. We'll get the hikes in, but I just feel bad that she rolled her ankle. But it totally makes a difference in our abilities to hike and just the energy we have to do things. Improves health and brain, or cognition and brain health. Totally agree with that. As Christy said, I have another business. I do financial coaching. And there are times where I'm thinking, maybe I'm going to stop doing this one of these days, because sometimes, just working with a lot of different clients, I have a hard time remembering things and remembering their story. But that has definitely improved as well over time. Reducing brain fog as well. Improves vascular health, which I think I just shared with you guys about that one of the medical testimonies. And then I love provides age reversal of more than 4,000 of our gene expressions to a younger state, medically proven. So if you guys want to age reverse, I know I do. Everybody wants to live well and live healthy and feel good while they're doing it. And this is definitely something that can help you do that. Okay. So pictures are worth 1,000 words. Just want to walk you through a few of these. Let me move my screen here. Okay, so left-hand side first, she had shoulder surgery, obviously, on a clavicle or something in that area. And you can see over 2 weeks just how quickly that healed. The gentleman in the middle had a major injury to his hand. And you can see the difference, patching. And even the small one up top with the patch on it, it's still a little bit pink. But as 63 days later with known pain meds, which is pretty amazing. That it could heal that well. And it's hard to even see if there's even a scar there. And then this is a knee surgery. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, including my best friend that I was just traveling with this summer up into the Rockies, that are looking at or having knee replacement surgery. And scar tissue is just a nasty thing, so if we can impact the ability or impact the way our body heals and reduce those scar tissue. I'm sure you guys all have heard this. There are so many people that have surgeries, but then the scars that are there from the surgeries that impact their ability to move and motion and all of that makes a huge difference. So if we can have those kind of be on the stem cells before surgeries, after, during and after surgeries, that can make a huge difference in the quality and how we heal. A couple pictures. This gentleman was snowboarding, major accident, coming up on a interview, and his parents were brand partners and patched him up, and you can see literally in 5 days. Now, again, he's younger, so he probably has a lot of stem cells in there compared to maybe someone like me. So a lot of healthy stem cells, but even so, that just made such a huge difference. It's incredible. And this young 80-year-old young man up top had a really bad fall. You can see just all the bruising, even all the way down into his neck. 2 weeks, and whoops, my mouse is too happy. 2 weeks later, how much of a difference? You can still see some of the bruising, but at 7 weeks, look at that. Look at the quality of his skin, how much difference it is. I mean, he looks like he got a facelift. If it wasn't for the fact that you could see the injury here, you'd think he had a facelift because his skin looks so much better and so much smoother all the way around. A couple more, X30. She was on X39 for 4 months, and look at how much clearer her skin is. And as far as the lines and grooves and stuff like that, even all the way into her neck, you can see the kind of difference that it's made. And acne scars. Look at the difference in her skin going all the way through. How it improves. So again, they're younger, she's younger, so she's going to have the better healing, but you can make it makes such a difference in that in skin, especially if young people who are struggling because of the acne. Here's my fun one about pets. You guys, just so you know, that you can take the patch off you when you're done with it and put it on your pet at night, or put it on your pet the next day. So take your patch off at night, the next day put it on your pet. Whether it's between their eyes, you can put, if you don't like wearing a collar, you can put like a bandana around their neck, or if they have a lot of fur, you can sort of tuck it in there. I was house sitting a Havanese in August this year with Carrie, and really long hair, like super long hair. And we took her to visit somebody down in Astoria. And by the time we got there, she was just like panting and stressed out about being at this strange house. And I took an Eon patch and I sort of parted her hair and put it on there. And within 15 minutes, she was asleep at my feet. It was the craziest thing, but it was so rewarding because it's hard to know how to help them when they get anxious and stressed. And then it makes you anxious and stressed. And so that made a huge difference. So if you have any pets that get frightened because of storms, thunder, lightning, going to the vet. In fact, the person that I house sit, I left some patches with them because she said every time they go to get Bella groomed or have to go to the vet, she gets really sort of stressed out. So I left some patches there with her so she could basically help Bella not feel so bad the next time. So give your pets a chance as well, and it'll help stimulate their stem cells as well. But also, you can also put an Eon patch and chill them out if you want to. We have a lot of athletes that are using these patches, you guys. It's funny, once you know what to look for, you will start seeing them everywhere. There's great testimonies of these people and many more on the main website. And if you saw any of the World Cup like 6 months ago, if you start really paying attention, like I said, you start seeing these little white patches all over athletes everywhere, which is pretty cool. They show that make such a difference in performance and activity. Okay, oops, one more. One more. Christy, do you want me to share this one? Okay. So this is Christy's son. Christy's son was in a really bad accident about 2 years ago, and he was thrown from a motorcycle, even though he was fully geared, and he shattered his knee, shattered his right wrist, punctured lungs, had an injury to his neck, which caused him to have strokes. And he was in the hospital for a long time. They weren't sure whether he was going to make it out. They weren't sure whether he was going to come out whole and healthy, so to speak, as Christy puts it. And so she started patching because one of the doctors had heard about it. They okayed it for her to patch him during in the ICU. And he constantly and progressively got better. Because he had the stroke, he didn't have any, he had lost his sensation on the left side. But at 4 months, he came out, and then he went through intensive physical therapy. And he's at 6 months, he was driving, living on his own, feeling better. And I'm just going to share this because I've sort of seen a little bit from the perspective of Christy's, dealing with all of this. I can remember about 4 months ago, we were having an event at La Familia on Thursday night, and I look over at Christy and she's got some tears in her eyes. And I go, Christy, what's going on? And she said, I just got a text from my son that he ran for the first time and he ran a 1/4 mile. And she was so overwhelmed with emotion because of everything that she and her family had gone through with him. So there's a cute picture of him with his girlfriend here, and he is doing amazing. He's an entrepreneur as well. And Christy is he's been a blessing just to hear his story and how he's come out with, healthy, mentally healthy, not addicted to any medications. And so we're very happy with that. As plus, again, giving God the glory that he was healed and healthy. Right, Christy? Did I get it all right? Giving somebody else's testimony. So, okay, you guys, I'm gonna stop sharing here. And I'm going to ask a few people to unmute and give their testimony. So Rebecca, are you on? Oh, do I see Rebecca? Yes. Oh, there you are. Okay. Why am I having a hard time seeing you? Oh, there you are in the top corner. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Rebecca.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know what's going on with you?
Well, if it's okay, I would love to share what has gone on with the 3 of us in our family that have been patching. If we have time, I'll be quick.
Yes.
But we were first introduced to the patches because my husband bought them for our son, who was 18 at the time. He has very severe scoliosis in his thoracic spine. He's got a 70-degree curve, but he's also a baseball player, which is one of the most important things to him in his life. So they had wanted to do surgery, a spinal fusion to straighten his spine for probably 4 years. But because we understood that would mean the end of his baseball career, we decided that we would, as long as we could manage his pain, that we would hold off on that surgery. And his high school season wasn't looking great. He was having all kinds of injuries with his shoulders and his back. And then finally last summer, at the beginning of summer ball, he took a bad swing and had a stress fracture in his back. So we did, this was before the patches, we did spend way more money than I'd like to admit to get stem cell injections done for him, which he could do because he's young. He took it from his own stem cells and injected it back there. Most of us here on this Zoom couldn't get away with that, but because we're older. But he, the goal, I guess, was for my husband purchasing these was just to get him through his senior season. And we all kind of held our breath thinking he wasn't going to make it. And so at the beginning of the season, he was having all kinds of other expensive and time-consuming interventions. He was doing dry needling every other day, stretch classes every other day, regular massages, all the things. And as the season went on, as we were patching him, he stopped having to do all of those things. And because the patches were managing his pain without all of that intervention. So we were thankful it saved us a lot of money, but also thankful that he was feeling better. And I'm happy to say that now he has made it through his senior season and is playing college baseball right now. And just last week, he told me, Mom, I can't tell you how nice it is to be, he was in the cage hitting. And he said, I can't tell you how nice it is to be able to be up at bat and not have to think about my back hurting, and he's hitting better than he ever has. So that's his story. But about the same time that my husband purchased this for our son, he also bought them for himself because he was having a bunch of issues as well. He had so many disc protrusions in his thoracic and cervical spine that it had caused paralysis of his phrenic nerve, which is the nerve that controls your diaphragm. So his diaphragm was paralyzed, which caused his lungs to fill up with fluid, and he was getting pneumonia. So a lot of pain, trouble breathing. He did a whole lot of everything that anybody ever said to try to heal his body, but he would tell you that the patches were the thing that most consistently kept his pain at bay. They wanted to do surgery on him as well. And so over time of using the patches, he was able to avoid that surgery. And now he is moving his neck around with no pain and filling up his lungs with no pain. And he's feeling amazing. So when they purchased it, I was very skeptical. I was the skeptic. And so I had to go through and read all of the studies and go to some meetings myself before I was ready to patch myself. I have struggled with chronic fatigue, joint pain, and brain fog for almost 20 years due to Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune disease of the thyroid, Epstein-Barr, adrenal fatigue, a bunch of things. And I was able to kind of control those symptoms with medication over the years, but really I just never felt well. My heart wanted to do way more than my body would let me do. And so I started patching, and for me, it was about, I mean, I noticed the mild improvement of my joints when I first started it, but it was about the 2.5 month mark, which sounds kind of like what you had said for you as well. I felt like a significant shift in my health, to where the brain fog lifted. My joints are feeling better than they have in years. And then just last month, I saw my doctor and they reviewed my labs, and I found out that my Hashimoto's is completely gone. So I was so excited to actually get that clinical, confirmation of what I had been feeling physically. So yeah, very exciting. It's been changed our family's lives. So
amazing. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. I'm so happy for you and your family. What a huge improvement, and for all of you. Dang. And it's one thing for us to have our own health improvement, but it's when it happens with our kids, that is just amazing. That's just, yeah. Thank you for sharing. That's incredible. I really appreciate you sharing. I'm so glad that your son is being able to continue his career, because I know that probably the difference it made between his senior year and college, starting, probably just was enough of the hump to just get him to go into that next season. That's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Yay.
Thank you, Rebecca. Awesome. Stacy, would you like to unmute and share?
Sure thing. Thanks for having me. So I hurt my knee, and it was so bad that on Monday when I went to work after it happened, I was bawling my eyes out. I'm a dental hygienist. I couldn't even walk out to the waiting room to get my patients. The girls up front had to bring the patient back to me. My boyfriend is a nurse practitioner at a pain clinic, and he said, come on over, I'll give you a steroid shot. But just so you know, it's a Band-Aid and you can't keep having these shots. So I went over there, had a steroid shot. It was like a miracle. I could walk again, but it wore off after about 2 weeks. So what he does all day is pain injections, gel injections, stem cell injections. So I've had a gel injection. I've had 2 stem cell injections. They also have a physical therapist there. I went through 8 weeks of physical therapy twice a week. I had chiropractic adjustments. I tried everything natural that I could. So all through the summer, last year in September, I brought this up to my boyfriend last night. I said, do you remember when we went to the celebrity golf outing and the ground is so uneven on a golf course? I was so miserable. And if I'm walking on a flat surface, I'm okay. But anything with hills or, dips. And he said, yeah, I could tell you were in a lot of pain. And I didn't want to ruin his day. I didn't want to go home. He was enjoying himself. He loves golf, but I was really in a lot of pain. So I ordered my first set of patches in November, and I followed Christy's son's journey, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try them. And I wasn't real consistent about wearing them all the time, but I did think I felt better when I wore them. And I look back at my order history. The next set I ordered was in February. And again, like I said, I think I do feel better when I wear them. And March, that I didn't order any more until April again. So I wasn't real consistent at first. But in April, I went and had an appointment with an orthopedic. I had an MRI in the very beginning, and it said that I had a torn meniscus and I had near bone on bone arthritis. I had inflammation in my tibia. So when I went to go see the orthopedic, I thought for sure he would say, you need your meniscus fixed. And he said, you need a knee replacement. I was devastated. I was like, are you serious? He said, you could probably get away with a partial, but he said they only last about 10 years. And I've done only 150 partials and 3 failed. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start wearing the patches consistently. So I started wearing the patches. It was about 2 weeks, and I noticed normally when I would go up and down stairs, this is the thing that bothered me the most, is I had to take steps one at a time. And I would have to hold on to the railing and just kind of help myself up on each step. And same thing on the way down. And I was able to, I'm like, wow, I'm walking up and down steps without holding on to the railing. And then all of a sudden I'm holding a laundry basket, the weight of a laundry basket, and walking up steps without holding on to anything. I was like, you know what, I am getting better. So I just kept wearing them and kept wearing them. I teach cycle class. I taught an extreme cycle class this morning. I wish I could have another MRI to see what kind of healing has gone on inside my knee, but I know how I feel. And my knee is just so much better. And I would say it's like 95% back to normal. And I can live with that 5% to avoid knee replacement for sure. I just had my 60th birthday. I figure if it doesn't help my knee, maybe, if my hair is growing like crazy, my nails and my skin, I'm like, I'll use it for that, but it did help my knee. And then we went downtown Chicago for a musical, and I missed the last step and I sprained my ankle. And if you go to our Facebook page, Living Health, what is it? Living Healthy with Me.
Living Healthy with Me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you go there and search Stacy Savage, spelled Stacey, Savage, Savag, you'll find my ankle before and after picture. It was so swollen and painful, and I couldn't walk on it. Again, went to work, and they're like, now what did you do? And I pulled my pant leg up and I showed everybody my ankle. And that night when I went to bed, I thought, you know what? Normally what I do is I put my patch on the point of pain. I put it on my knee. I thought I'm going to try it on my ankle. So I put it on my ankle. I went to bed, woke up the next day and got out of bed. And I was like, wow, my ankle barely hurts. And I turned on the light, and I could not believe how much the swelling and the bruising went down. You have to go look at that picture. It's crazy. And so that's when I decided to start sharing the patches. Up to that point, I really didn't share it with anybody or tell anybody that I was doing this, but because I knew my knee felt better, but when I could actually see it with my own two eyes on my ankle, that's when I started sharing. And just like last week, I had my bone in my foot for some reason hurt. I couldn't put any pressure on my foot, and I was at the park with my grandson, and I thought, okay, I went to bed, put the patch on the top of my foot, and by the next day it was gone. And I share it with my daughter, who's she's 32 soon, and her husband had major back surgery, so he's been wearing them for his back. But she was limping, and I said, why are you limping? She goes, I don't know. I've been limping for a couple of days. My foot hurts really bad. So I said, well, use one of the patches. And so she put them on in the morning. By that later afternoon, she messaged me and she said, Mom, my mind is blown. She said, I can't believe it. My foot doesn't even hurt anymore. She said, it's seriously a miracle, is what she wrote to me. And that made me so happy, because I know it helps me, but it makes me happy when it helps other people too. So, I'm just very pleased with everything. And like you said, stem cell injections are super expensive. But my boyfriend paid for them because he said, I want my girlfriend to be able to walk, but I didn't feel like they work. I even have one more shot left I could have. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I feel like the patches are helping better than anything that I've had done. So I'm just going to continue on the patches.
That's fantastic. I'm so excited. Such a clear and decisive change and healing for you. Totally. Oh, yes. across the board. And especially like you said, walking up the stairs, and you could remember the difference. A lot of people, at least for, I don't know about everybody else, for me, it's very easy for us to know when we have the pain and things bothering us. It's sometimes hard for us to remember when it goes away.
Right.
You have specific circumstances like that you can so clearly define, like your ankle, right. Stuff like that. That's amazing.
And then being September right now, I remember last year in September when we went to that golf outing, I just remember how much pain I was in, and I was trying to hide it. And, so it's like, wow, last year, this time I couldn't even walk on uneven ground, so big difference.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad you took pictures. As you guys have probably figured out, one of the things we like to say is take a picture and then patch, because you can see the difference, and I did that. I hurt my ankle when I was on the trip this summer, and the same thing. I put some patches on it, woke up the next day, and I was like, all the pain was gone. And it wasn't swollen or anything, just something wasn't right inside of it. And I took pictures, the same thing. And it helps you remember. And so I took pictures of scars all over my body and all sorts of stuff when I first started, because I want to be able to remember what things look like and what things felt like. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. Nancy, would you like to unmute and join us?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. Welcome.
Well, I just want to share my little story. It's kind of a quick one. I fell down at work and I broke my foot in 5 places. I kind of stepped into a hole and rolled myself out of it when I fell. And the swelling came so quickly, I couldn't put anything on it. And I remember Carrie, who's my niece, recommended these patches. So I ordered some up and I put them on, but I could not wear them because I barely could not lay anything on my foot. It was so tender. I couldn't even lay a sheet on it. So I kind of lived through the summer uncomfortable with my swollen foot. It got as big as like a 10-pound sirloin roast. It was really swollen. At the end of the day, like in July, I decided to start wearing the patches because I had them in my cupboard. So I pulled them out and started placing them when Carrie suggested. And oh my goodness, I was like, what's going on? I'm walking on my foot better. And as the weeks went by, I started using more. I started realizing, because I'm a hairstylist and we kind of create concoctions to moisturize and condition someone's hair. So I decided I'm just going to make a concoction of these patches that I have. And I put them all around and kind of figured it out. I could not believe how amazing I was feeling in just a few short weeks. And by this time, you know, I was a workman's compensation. They wanted to take me off, not pay me any more money. And I demanded to have an MRI because they said, you're healed. The x-ray says you're healed. I go, I need an MRI. So they did an MRI and they did find a little bit of a problem, but I started patching more since then. I'm sure it's going to be healed soon. So I'm still a workman's comp. I still have a little bit of problem. I'm not 100%, but I can tell you, I am much better than I was. In fact, I had my cleaning lady here, and you can't see, but I have a counter and a hood, and the range is at the bottom. And I got on the counter to clean the top of the range because I was afraid for her to get on it because she kind of slips a lot, like I do. So I got up there and I cleaned and finished my job. And even though I got up on a step stool, I actually jumped off that counter and landed on my feet and just bounced. And I was like, and her mother was looking at me. Her mother is 62, can barely walk and had problems with her back. She says, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just bounced off of that. How do you do that? And I said, it's X39. She says, what is X39? So I kind of explained to her, I go, let me patch you. So then I asked her to lift her shirt in the back. I put patches. I put the LifeWave and the Aeon and X39 down her spine. I says, you're not going to feel anything throughout the day. And in fact, you're going to realize that you have no pain. And when you realize you have no pain, you're going to realize that the patches work. And in fact, that's exactly what happened. And she even said that to her daughter. The next day, the daughter called me up and says, what were those patches? My mother woke up really early and she cooked breakfast for everybody. She cleaned the kitchen and she straightened up the house. And my mother could barely even walk. Now, her mother is 62. I'm 68. So her mother was like in shock to hear that I jumped up. I mean, her sister, a daughter, was in shock that I jumped off the counter. I couldn't believe myself. So the product is working. My foot feels better if I can jump off of a counter and balance myself. Unfortunately, I fell down the night before my birthday and kind of jacked up my back, and I have patches all over it. But I can tell you that the patches are incredible because I wasn't even able to lift a cup of coffee or even to boil water. I couldn't lift or use my arm. It was all the inside was really, really sore because when I fell, hitting a curb in between two vehicles, parking in cars. I was walking out. So it was pretty intense. And my back is bruised and I have patches everywhere, but I can tell you, like in a week's time, I'm feeling really great. And I'm able to lift my arms up and I can lift a cup of coffee. Yay! I wasn't able to before. So I'm really happy for X39 and all the products because I'm using them all in conjunction with each other and in combination. Yeah. And it's really interesting. And I feel great and feel amazing. So that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. Well, thanks for sharing too. And I'm also super excited to hear your continued journey using them because now that you're a full-on believer on the power of the patches, I can see you continuing to share and not only and continuing to improve as well. So thank you.
I'm just so happy and because I feel so great, I just want to share it with everybody. It's like I don't know if anyone can relate to this. It's like when you find Jesus Christ, you want to tell everybody about it. Some people would listen and some people won't. It's kind of that same journey.
Amen. I've said the same thing. Yep. If you know enough to know, you know enough to share.
You want to share it. You want to share what you know or your knowledge. So I love sharing. That's my thing. So that's it. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome. Well, Nancy, hopefully next time you come over here to the Valley, I'll get to meet you in person.
I would love to come soon.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, last up, Veronica, why don't you go ahead and unmute and give us your share with us. I can't hear you yet. I have to unmute. Can you unmute? There's a button. If you're on your computer, there's a button on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, which looks like a little microphone. There you go. You're unmuted. I can't hear you yet. Can I hear you? Talk. I'm not sure what's going on. Veronica, no. Okay. I can't, well, you're muted again. I'm not quite sure why. Well, oh, okay. Well, we'll come back and see if you can figure out how to get your volume, we'll come back and share your testimony. Okay. And okay, so let's go ahead and open this up for questions. Thank you all of you for giving your testimonies. I really wanted to hear Veronica's testimony. I have everyone hear Veronica's testimony as well, but we'll get it working and maybe next time have her on as well. Okay, so Carrie, since you're up and running, I haven't gone through any of the questions. Is there any specific questions that you want to? You're on mute. Okay. So can we get an iPhone lady knee pain testimony? Tell her to get an x-ray. Okay. So anybody have any questions? Just feel free to unmute and pop in if anybody have any specific questions.
Hi, Renata, it's Diane.
Hi, Diane. How are you?
Good. How long did it take you to get off your Hashimoto's medication? Can you remember?
I wasn't on Hashimoto's. Are you speaking about Rebecca?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Rebecca. Can Rebecca answer? There she is.
Hi. Yes. So I was on the medication for almost 20 years, and I'm weaning back now because I just got the news from my doctor, and so I'm doing a slow wean. Prescription medications can stop your body from doing it on its own kind of thing. But her words when she saw it is, your thyroid is waking up. I can see that it's improving. And so I'm in the process of weaning back. But I didn't attempt it without talking to my doctor first, even though I was feeling better.
Okay. So you stayed on the medication and then had a blood test, and it even showed. It showed.
Yes, and the wow in that is that my numbers were never able to get into a manageable range. So she was in shock. Her jaw was on the floor because it was not expected. I had a really pretty severe case, and I just couldn't get my antibody load under control. So yeah, I'm in the process of weaning back now, but the goal is to be off.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's amazing. I met a lady in Glenwood Springs who has Hashimoto's, and she was looking in the testimonial group and stuff like that. So I'm super excited to share this video with her to let her know that there's hope. There really is. That's fantastic. Thank you. Diane, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. I've been, excuse me, this is my Arizona throat. Yeah, I've been on it for about 20 years too. And I'm taking the pills. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. Well, and as we probably said before, or maybe I didn't, so just to rehash. So setting expectations. Everybody feels something different, but we highly recommend that you use the patches for at least 1 month for every decade that you are. Okay, because things will continue to change and improve. So the stem cells could be regenerating in one area that maybe you don't see, or maybe you see stuff and feel stuff right away, but over time. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who said, at the 6-month point, something changed, at the 10-month point, something changed, and so on. So don't give up on it. We know it's working. We know things are changing and things are improving in your body. Our bodies didn't get into the state of dysfunction overnight. So they're not going to get into the state of regeneration and healthiness overnight. Okay. And another key point is 3 important things that I would highly recommend and just keep top of mind when you are patching is hydration. We've talked about this before. Hydration is key. Good quality water is key. If anybody lives in the valley and is not filtering their water, they really need to. Any municipality that puts fluoride in the water, it's a neurotoxin. Get that fluoride out of your water. Get all the rest of the junk, the pharmaceuticals and everything else out of your water. So good, clean, filtered water. Reach out to me if you want some suggestions on that. Also good putting salt in your water, getting some good hydration or some electrolytes in your water is key too. Something I do in the morning, every morning that I'm not traveling, is I use hot water, honey, lemon, and some salt water, which is just salt that I dissolve in water and put it in my water. And I drink that every day, and it just amazingly hydrates you. So hydration is very key. As we age, we drink less. So even more so, the older you get, to be attentive to how much water you're drinking. And again, good quality water. Also consistency. Remember to put it on, remember to take it off every single day. I was talking to my mom and say, hey mom, you know, are you ready for some more patches? She's 93 years old. And she says, well, let me go see how many I've left. And keep in mind, she started with like 6 months back in like early March. I gave her one and then she ordered a gold pack. And she said, I think I have 2 more containers. I'm like, Mom, you should have run out last month. You're not doing this every day. And she goes, yeah, sometimes I forget. So consistency is key. Put them on in the morning, taking them off at night, using the extra patch to patch your pets if you have them. And then the last one is just time. Give it time, the consistency as well. Give it time, you know, the 1 month for every decade that you are, and you will continue to see improvements. And I can virtually guarantee, if you ask anybody else here on the testimony for a testimony, everybody continues to notice improvement and change over time. So, okay.
So Renata, we have a couple questions up here. So somebody was asking for what patches are good for osteoporosis, and are there any patch don'ts?
Oh, good question. So osteoporosis, I would definitely start with the X39 and then add in Eon for anti-inflammatory aspect. Christy, what can you add to that?
Well, X39 is clinically proven for bone health and osteoporosis.
Awesome. Okay.
X49, that's another stem cell patch that Renata talked about. It activates the copper peptide AHKCU.
Thank you.
And do you know the don'ts? Do you know a couple don'ts?
Why don't you do it? Because I don't know if I can think of off the top of my head that quick.
Okay, so just a couple that I'm going to think about. If you're pregnant or nursing, just ask your doctor if it's okay that you activate your own stem cells, and you can even give them the link called activationpatch.com so they can do the research. We don't have any clinical trials on pregnant women or nursing women, okay? And then you can make your choice whether you want to do that or not. Also, if you're going through cancer treatment, chemo or radiation, you do not want to use X39. We do have supporting patches that are wonderful, which would be carnosine, glutathione, and Eon. If you're going through cancer treatment, if you have cancer and you choose to go holistic, you can use X39, okay? And you might want to run it by your doctor as well. But Google, what is glutathione and cancer? How does that work out? How do activating your own stem cells work out for cancer? Just do that kind of research. And then lastly, I would say if you have any kind of organ transplant, they say not to use X39. So if you have an organ transplant of any sort, do not use X39. But other than that, it's not going to interfere with any medications like Renata said. And I just want to add, Diane, I had hypothyroid for many years, and I am completely off of my medication now. And it took me over 1.5 years for that to happen. So when Renata says give it time, lots of good things have happened over time. It took me over 1 year for my eyesight to get better. Some of my friends, their eyesight got better in a month. I'm like, wait a minute, how come mine's not getting better? But over 1 year, my eyesight has gotten better. My eyes, I don't need my readers and I don't need glasses.
Awesome.
So thank you. Renata, you did a fabulous job.
Thanks. Well, and Christy, I just thought about another don't, which you and I were texting about, patching. So I remember listening to one of David's webinars in the car driving, and he was talking about light therapy and how over time light therapy can lose its effectiveness, but it doesn't, because that's why we take the patch on and off. So we do put it on in the morning, take it off at night. But that's why it's important to, like, you know, rotate your spots and stuff like that. But the fact that it's going on and off, your body doesn't get accustomed to that. I'm not sure the wording he used, but that was the gist of it. And so I asked Christy the other day about somebody had reached out to me and said, hey, can you leave the patch on 24/7, like a Eon or LifeWave or something? And her response was, yes, but move the positions. And that goes back again to your body getting used to light therapy. And so by moving in positions, it keeps your body from not improving, or it keeps your body improving and not dismissing the benefits, so to speak. I'm not sure if I'm wording it right. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'll just add, so X39 more is not better. Okay, so some people think if I wear it for 48 hours, is it going to be better than just 12? No, we want to wear it, like Renata said, 12 hours on, so we're activating, then 12 hours off, so we're healing. Super important. That was the clinical trials. For Eon and LifeWave, we can, like Renata said, wear that 24/7 for pain. Some people need that for pain, but you do want to switch locations, like she said, because we don't want to stimulate the skin with light and heat in the same location. You might get a heat rash, but also you need to put on a new patch every 12 hours so that you have fresh crystals. Okay, so new patch every 12 hours and new location for Eon and LifeWave. Eon's for inflammation, stress, anxiety, focus, so much more, and it helps with pain. And then LifeWave is for rapid pain relief, especially for migraines and headaches, or just specific pain that you have that you want to get rid of right away.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just real quick, my aunt uses, so we have another patch, it's called AccuLife for horses. But I just will have you know that my aunt, who is 74, I gave her some of those one time, and she said they work better for her than LifeWave, and so she loves them. And so that's all she orders for pain patches anymore, instead of the LifeWave. So if you have someone who's, you know, has even more intense pain, you can try that as well. So Veronica, do we think you have audio? I can't hear you. Okay, sorry. I saw you come back in. I was hoping that maybe it got fixed. Okay.
I was going to say with the AccuLife, if they just order AccuLife, they're going to get a pamphlet that shows how to place on a horse. So you will have to walk your person through on how to place. Send them the LifeWave video of David Schmidt so they know where to place it, because otherwise they're like, where do I put these? I ran into that one. So anyway, just a
good point. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Who just talked? Unmute one more time, Veronica.
Okay.
Yes.
You do hear.
Okay, awesome. Well, go ahead and give us your testimony before we wrap this up today.
Okay, so let me just think. Okay, so just a little background story. I come from chronic illness. I've never had a balance, equilibrium issues, damage in my ear, hole in my eye, always sensitive to light, always having to walk around wearing these big old dark glasses. And then getting the COVID, it just amplified everything 10 times. So I was really sick and a lot of pain. And while I was standing outside of the library, I was realizing it's all cloudy. And when it's cloudy like this, I would never be able to be out. I would be in a lot of pain. My head felt like it was in a vice. I have so much brain damage. The atrophy of my brain, they say, is like somebody who's in dementia, maybe 30, 40 years older than me. So needless to say, for years and years, I've suffered with a lot of pain and a lot of issues, different kind. I acquired liver disease, and with that, after with the post-COVID syndrome, my liver literally would throb, just being a lot of pain. And I went to my doctor, and he couldn't help me, and he felt terrible that he wasn't able to help me. So he, 2 months prior, the webs had introduced him to the patches. And this was February when I went in. And I remember when he went over into his briefcase and he pulled out this sleeve. And he says, Veronica, you respond really well to energetic medicine. I want you to start wearing these patches. And so he told me, and he showed me on the back of his neck how he had one on, and 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I was like, okay. So remember, I'm coming from a lot of pain. Matter of fact, I used to have to take 21 supplements because my body did not absorb nutrients. And if I didn't take them, the nail would come off my bed of the finger, and it's very painful. Break, brittle, lose a lot of hair, the whole bit. And so I hadn't done it for a couple of days, so that was already happening. So on that Saturday, February 18th, I started wearing the patches. A couple of hours later, I don't have a throbbing liver. I don't have the pain. The very next day, the nail is growing back on the bed. And he was right. He didn't tell me about what it was or anything because he knew I was going to research it. That night, I was researching David Schmidt, LifeWave. I'd watched like 3 videos a night of him saying different things about the supporting patches. So when I went back that Wednesday to the doctor, my nail was already growing back. He couldn't believe it. And I told him I want the supporting patches. So I ordered supporting patches, and I did the YH and the X39 and 39 because I had a lot of brain damage and organ issues, right? So in 3 weeks, I was hiking. I hadn't been able to hike for 14 years. In 6 weeks, I was driving. I have not driven since 2014. But not only that, all my life, I had to wear these glasses. I sensitive to light. I wouldn't be able to be in this room right now without wearing those because that hole in my eye. So that night I realized everything was dark to me. I had to take the glasses off and was wondering what was going on. So I went to the optometrist and she scanned my eye and she was surprised I didn't have glasses. And then when she showed me the new scan, comparing it to the old scan, I've always had a hole. You can see a round, perfect hole in the middle of my eye. And now the tissue, you can literally see tissue growing in. If you ever know what that looks like, tissue is growing in the center of my eye. I was so happy and elated. I was just like, oh my gosh. And she's over here telling me, I can't believe that patch, how could that change a structural damage, a 57-year-old structural damage? How could that heal that? And I was like, it's not only the eye, it's the inner ear. I don't have vertigo anymore. I have perfect balance now. I've never walked straight since I was a little kid. I never walked straight. And then I had to even break down 8 years ago and start using a walker. And if I was, depends on where we were going, what we're doing, I had to be wheelchaired, okay? So anyways, needless to say, there's a lot of other things that's happening. Varicose veins, I don't have those like I did really bad in my legs. And I got my liver scan this week and I don't have scar tissue on my liver anymore. And I've got my labs done this week also. And remember, I had to live on 21 supplements. He wants me to start 4. And before, like my vitamin D level was low, I was always fatigued, but I didn't feel anything. I don't feel fatigued. I don't feel weak. I don't have any of the symptoms I used to have before I started patching. Anyway, so he's never seen anybody with chronic illness heal as fast as I have, right? So once a week, he has us coming into his office and he'll even on Saturdays go in there. He says it, he's never promoted anything before. He's always recommended, but he started sharing the patches with his clients. Now I go, you have to. Someone with chronic illness like I was able to come out of it and with this miracle, right? This miracle. So last night I was in Coolidge helping my aunt and cousin patch, and I was telling them, just think about it. These patches are prayed over. They're prayed over. We're wearing patches that are prayed over, David said it was a divine message that he received. And that to me is like biblical style healing, I'm not making a medical claim, but I'm just telling you how I feel. What has happened to me physically? What is still happening to me? I still know I have a ways to go, and I'll keep wearing the patches. I am so grateful. And my husband, I put the patches on him. He's not going to go get the patches and put them on himself. But he had gum disease, and I didn't know it was as bad as that they wanted to put him in for surgery. So 2 weeks ago, he goes in for a cleaning, and they tell him, you don't have gum disease anymore. What did you do? What have you been doing? And he didn't tell them, and everybody's telling him the patches. And he's like, I'm not going to. So I went over and talked to them yesterday, and I was telling the lady, well, apparently she's heard, and she rolls her eyes, yeah, right, those patches did that for you. But then as she sees me, and I started standing there for her, she saw I didn't have the glasses, because for years, that's all they did. They always had to help me. And then she's like, you know what, I'm going to start researching this. I'm going to check this out for myself. So I gave her information, and I was like, yeah, you have to let people know. Yeah. Anyways, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Veronica. And you got to go travel with your kids. You went to Disney, didn't you?
I'm gonna.
Oh,
so this is it. This is yes. I have not been able, all their lives, Christy last week, we were sharing in that meeting, and she was saying when she asked my daughter, now you got your mother back. She says, no, I got a new and improved mom. And I was telling her that's true, because all they've ever known is a chronic illness, Mom. But they didn't know that. They didn't know Mommy was in chronic illness. They didn't know Mommy had these things because, you know, we went on with life. That was our life. They always had to help me, you know. I started walking, into something, they straightened me out, you know, things like that. And as I got worse and worse these last few years, you know, they were there taking care of me. And when I realized it's not only changing my life, it's changing their lives, you know. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I've never done Disney World or the Universal Studios, and I want to go on that Hogwarts train, but now I'm able to.
That's
my
amazing.
Is this week, and my daughter goes, Mom, do you want to go horseback riding? Do you want to go on a balloon ride? You know, and then my husband goes, why don't you go skydiving with your daughter? Because see, I used to skydive. See?
Wow.
I'm not ready for that yet. I said, but let's get this trip done. You know, just to be able to do what I have been able to do. You know, what I'm going to be able to do. And I'm not afraid of it. And I'm getting out all the time. And I'm driving. And people are freaking out. You're driving? Yes, I am driving. I got this freedom and this independence that, you know, it's a new life. It's a different life.
Yeah. What a blessing. What a blessing. And I actually have your testimony on my phone, but I have never been able to figure out how to get it off. So we're going to do it after this meeting. But we've all been blessed by your story and just the healing. And I haven't seen you in person in a few months, but I'll see you in Orlando. You're going to Orlando, right? You're in Orlando. Yeah. So that's Veronica. Thank you for sharing your story. It just, we can physically see the kind of differences in you, not just knowing what's going on, but we can actually see the differences in you too. So very, very, very blessed. Very blessed. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, you guys, couple quick things and we're going to wrap it up. We are going to have a drawing and we're going to, for any of the guests. But real quick before we do that, if you want to get started, talk to the person that invited you. You could couple different ways to come into the company, preferred customer plus, as well as a brand partner. If you know for a fact that you want to be able to share with people, you can start as a brand partner. If you know that, hey, I want to just give this a while, see how develop my testimony, you can come in as a customer, whatever works for you. And we would love to be able to share that with you. Talk to the person that invited you and they can tell you how to get going. Very simply, if you want to start with a silver package, it's 3 months of treatment that gets you 3 months going. You can mix and match the patches, whatever works for you. And 3 months is about $300 to get you going. So, and again, talk to the person that invited you. Couple other quick things. You can also go to or invite people to activationpatch.com. And it's a great general information website to be able to share with your friends and family. We would also love to see you in our testimonial group, which is Living Healthy with Me VIP. Friend the person that invited you, they can add you to the group. And for anybody who's part of our team, they can also join the Team Freedom community as well. And as you probably heard, a bunch of us are going to Orlando in October for the convention. So if anybody is interested, well, no, I think they're sold out, but you can still be online and watch the conference online. And I'll tell you, I did a online. There was an international conference in January online, and it was phenomenal. We all got together in Mesa and watched it. And it was very powerful for me because David Schmidt spent the first 20 minutes talking about why there's a creator God and how that creator God basically created light. And we are all beings of light. And it was a phenomenal start to the whole training that he was doing. So I love that. And it was even more of a reason why I love this company. So thank you all for coming. Real quick, Diane, how many guests did we have?
Let me count them up here. We've got Nancy was a guest. No, hold on. Sorry. Alona was my guest, and she's out in Washington. Great to see Alona. Sarah Harrigan, invited by Stacy Savage. Annie Jeldick, invited by Barbara, or the other way around. Holly, invited by Barbara, and Nancy, invited by Carrie.
Okay. I'm going to pick a number. Let's do number 2. Who was number 2?
Number 2 was Sarah.
Okay, Sarah, you won some patches. So send your
Yay, that's my sister.
So send your, Sarah, send your information to who invited you. She will get it to Christy, and Christy will mail out some patches to you in the next week or so. So any other questions? Christy, did I leave anything out?
I'm just going to add, Renata, you did a fabulous job. Testimony so amazing. Congratulations to the winner. And we are doing another Zoom 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Monday. And then we're doing another one on Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. The one on Monday is a different link or a different Zoom link. Tuesday is the exact same Zoom link. Okay, so we would love to have you there. If you're a brand partner and you have a story, let's get you on one of those Zooms so you can share your story with people and patch it forward. So thanks again, everybody, for coming. And Renata, you're fabulous.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Reach out to anybody who sent you if you have any more questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.